York County is so much more than just a stop for gas along I-80. 17 County is filled with unique individuals with unique stories, just wanting to be told.
Welcome to another episode of 17 County Podcast, where we spotlight the people, projects, and progress powering growth across our region. From business expansion to community revitalization, we bring you behind the scenes of what's shaping our future. We're proud to recognize the organizations that make this podcast possible. A special thank you to the dedicated stakeholders investing in local impact. Central Valley Ag, Clutie Incorporated, Overland Ready Mix, Collins Aerospace, Meade Lumber Company, and Perennial Public Power District. We're also grateful for the continued support of our financial stakeholders, Henderson State Bank, Midwest Bank, and York State Bank, who help drive business sustainability across the county. Empowering innovation and reliability behind the scenes, we recognize K-Junction, OPPD, and Nebraska Public Power District. Your support fuels the stories we share and the future we're building together. Now, let's get into today's episode.
Today's guest is Sam Witherby, a passionate advocate for workforce solutions and a key player on the team at careerpathway.com. With strengths in outreach and community engagement, Sam helps connect individuals, businesses, and educators to a powerful digital platform that aligns talent with real-world opportunities. He brings insight into emerging workforce trends, practical tools for employers, and a strong belief in the power of partnerships to build a more connected labor pipeline. So thank you so much for joining me today, Sam.
Absolutely, Emily. Pleasure to be here, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, that explanation didn't even, begin to scratch the surface on what you do. Can you go into depth about what careerpathway.com is?
Yep. Absolutely. So the simplest way to describe what we do, careerpathway.com is an exploration tool. It's a web-based platform that connects students as young as middle school, all the way to working age professionals in their 70s looking for part-time jobs with real-world businesses, colleges, groups, and associations. And how we do this is it's all driven through content. So it's pictures, it's videos, it's a day in the life. We're meeting people where they're at, and that's their devices. Unfortunately, this is the TikTok generation, Snapchat, Instagram. So in order to connect with people nowadays, we have to do it through content. And what we're doing is we're educating the youth on introduction to industry and what's out there. So connecting them with the businesses and colleges that offer those opportunities. And then working age professionals like you and I, Emily, that are looking for maybe a change in career, or you just got laid off from a job, or you're relocating. You want a place where you can connect through content and see if it is a place that you want to work at, attend as a university, or as a young student trying to figure out what it is that you want to do with your life. So threw a lot at you there, but we wanted to make one connecting point that kind of encompasses everybody.
Sure. Yeah, that's amazing. If we kind of look back into the past, why was this platform created? What was the purpose for creating careerpathway.com?
Yep. So the passion for how this got started goes back about 3.5 years ago. So Bo Jones, the CEO and founder of careerpathway.com, has been a construction owner for a little over 26 years. He works on large home projects to multifamily projects worth up to $200+ million. So think of apartments and hotels. So as you can imagine, in construction, when you get these big jobs, you need to staff positions. Well, that's been an issue for quite a while now. It's just a lack of emerging workforce wanting to get into construction and being able to fill positions on these multi-million-dollar projects. Coupled that with Bo's kids, specifically his oldest, his daughter graduated high school last year and has no idea what direction she wants to go in terms of interests, careers, what she wants to do with her life. So there's a lot of passion behind creating this and what went into it. But the neat thing is, as we kind of discovered, construction is not the only industry that's struggling. It is across all different spectrums. We thought it was just trades, but the more we dug into it and the more conversations we have with people, it's everywhere. It's healthcare, it's IT, it's transportation, it's manufacturing. We can go down the line. So this used to be called Trade Games, kind of a fun fact. And then it pivoted a year and a half ago to careerpathway.com because we wanted this to be an all-encompassing career path across all industry.
Interesting. So it's definitely grown with the need that you guys see arising within our workforce.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was quite surprising when Bo started this that his frustration in construction was seen across all different industries. So it was actually kind of a benefit that we could now offer a platform that connects all industries. Not only to educate the youth, but also give people an opportunity to explore what a career would be like in manufacturing and how can I get started and what is that path to, growth as far as moving up into a higher position. So it's a really neat tool, but there was a lot of legwork and conversations and a lot of research that had to go into this.
Yeah, of course. And we keep referring to it as a tool, this really cool way that you can stay connected and get connected with different employers. What would you say makes it different from other career exploration or, job posting board tools?
Yep. So there are a lot of tools out there. When I meet with people, they always say, okay, how are you different from LinkedIn, from Indeed, to Handshake, to all these different tools? What we've designed is we've been able to go as far back as someone that's 13 years of age or an 8th grader in middle school that's trying to get introduced into industry, kind of discover what he or she is interested in. And then when they get to that point, how do I execute it? What are the universities that offer these programs? Or, where's an internship or job shadow opportunity? So we go back as early as age 13, and then we cover that whole journey. From college to working age professionals, all the way up to, someone like my dad who's retired and just looking to stay busy. But we've also made it a connecting point where we can have mentors, educators, school counselors, professionals, businesses, colleges, economic development teams, groups and associations where they can all meet and they can post, content around education. And then also, a lot of people need to fill seats. They need to fill classrooms. We wanted to give those groups an opportunity, to kind of fill up that pipeline. So, to answer your question, we didn't focus on one specific area. We wanted a landing spot that covered age 13 to age 70. We wanted that to be a great connecting point and offer just a ton of benefits.
Yeah. So you're definitely walking with somebody while they're on their entire career journey. It's not just one stage.
Exactly. We don't want to just, as much as the passion behind this was with, the emerging workforce and making sure they have the pathway to industry. We also recognize that people need to fill positions. There's colleges that need to fill seats. There's scholarship opportunities, apprenticeships. So we wanted to have a good central meeting place where everyone could find common ground and, make it fun. Videos and pictures and kind of a how-to is a really cool way to educate people and also draw them in.
Absolutely. So let's kind of dig into why this is so important, why this matters so much. What different workforce trends are you seeing across Nebraska right now?
It's kind of separated. As I've kind of dove into my role and connected across the state of Nebraska, Lincoln's kind of its own little community. Then you go to Omaha. Both those big hubs do things differently, in terms of how they go to their chambers or how they work with their stakeholders or education systems. But as we've grown and kind of gone into communities, very similar to York, and Emily, you can attest to this, you guys see it as a tool, something that can educate the people that live in your town or surrounding towns in terms of, here are the businesses that are here, in York, that, you can have an opportunity to get hired on at, stay local, support the town you grew up in, all the way to the college, the high school level. Or, if they want to explore other opportunities around the state, they do have those chances. But I'm seeing people that are looking for a solution. They all have the right mindsets, that their hearts are all in the right place. But there hasn't been a connection tool that encompasses everything, especially with a community when it involves education and businesses and chambers, and then also the people that live there. So it's been fun to talk with folks and hear their story, hear their frustrations. and let them know that what we're doing is a solution. And I hope as we continue to build relationships and get in front of the right people, that we can make an impact. And, we've, met with, Governor Pillen and Commissioner Brian Maher, and we wanted to make sure that before we went out and hit the ground running, that we had support from the top level. So their goal for us is to get this tool in as many, kids, school-age kids, job seekers, professionals that we can, and allow them to explore, to utilize the tool, and hopefully educate this emerging workforce to then come in and fill the industry gaps, but also let these businesses and colleges promote themselves and really tell the story of what makes them different, what makes them unique. And that's just all done through them. We just are kind of that landing spot.
Yeah. So let's kind of dig into that. If I'm listening to the podcast and I want to, join the platform, get involved, how does someone, whether they're a student, job seeker, employer, get started on careerpathway.com?
Yep, great question. It is very simple, and we wanted to make everything about careerpathway.com very simple. So if you're a student, 13 to 17 years old, or a professional, you're a counselor, you're a teacher, working age professional, business, college, association, you name it, you go to careerpathway.com, and you click on the Join Now button, and the prompts will follow you right down a very simple list of who you are in terms of a student, a job seeker, professional. It'll allow you to put up your email, contact information, resume, whatever it is that you are signing up for. Follow the prompts. It takes about 3 to 5 minutes, and then you have your profile created, and then you can go to the Discover page right then and there on careerpathway.com, and you can start exploring. You go to the search bar and you type in construction, you type in transportation, you type in healthcare, and after that search, we'll connect you to the top businesses, the top professionals, and the top posts right in that specific industry. So it's very simple, very easy. We want it to be that way. And then the fun happens after you create the profile. You start exploring and kind of figuring out what you're interested in, or maybe what career you want to go down.
Sure. And I guess, how does that work? Are you just flooded with information in different careers, or will you only see what pertains to you?
Yeah, we want to kind of have this be self-guided. A lot of times, at least, when I was going through high school and kind of the career aspect of it, we were kind of guided down a certain direction in terms of what we should be looking at. Whereas Career Pathway, we want students to come on and just have fun with it. We want them to type in just words that are interesting to them. Maybe it could be financing, agronomy, machinery, could be, sales, whatever that they are kind of thinking in their head. We want them to put it into that Discover page. And then from there, we want them to engage in the businesses and the content to see if it is actually something that they could see themselves doing. So we're trying to get them to steer their own path. And the neat thing about that is we can track everything from the backside on where they're spending the most time, down to the industry and what specifically within that industry they're spending and searching the most time on, which is awesome. So that'll be a good tool for mentors and counselors and teachers to then sit down with these students and then work with them on, wow, I had no idea, Emily, that you were interested in agronomy. That shocks me. Why is that? And then start having real life conversations and guiding them down a path to hopefully either at college or maybe just hit the workforce right away. Just kind of depends on what stage of life they're at. So that's kind of what we're seeing and super excited about it.
Yeah. So looking at this through a business lens, how can a business benefit from becoming involved in the platform?
Yes. Yeah. I think the businesses right now probably benefit the most just with how many profiles and professionals and students we have on the platform. It is a way for them to brand themselves, tell their story, fill positions. If you think of, large companies that are manufacturers, they're always trying to fill roles, or they're trying to fill internship spots, scholarships, you name it. So businesses really win a lot. Same with the colleges. Everyone's trying to fill a seat, or trying to fill, roles at all different levels. But they get to do it through videos, a path to success, educate the youth, So there's a ton of benefit all the way down to the high school level, not just the working age professionals. And then they can also, when you're partnering with Career Pathway, you're also going to be on newsletters. You're going to be a part of events. There's really good marketing opportunities when it comes to what we do, what we stand for, and then also, having a platform to really expose yourself and put yourself out there and attract talent through a very simple portal, receive resumes, and then hopefully by the end of it, we're filling positions and then also developing a pipeline of emerging workforce.
At Cornerstone Bank, we are committed to providing you the best in banking products and service. With 46 locations throughout Nebraska, we are dedicated to serve you. Cornerstone Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Today's podcast is brought to you by 104.9 Max Country, Cool 103.5, and Bear. Let's get back to the podcast.
So I've had the opportunity to hear you and your team talk a couple different times now. And one thing that you guys really talk a lot about that I think is incredibly impactful is the disconnect that there is between businesses that are recruiting and the actual people they're trying to recruit and what they are looking for. Can you talk a little bit about that disconnect?
Yeah. Yep. And it shouldn't be surprising, but, when we sat down and we interviewed businesses, HR professionals, business owners, and then also, students, 16, 17, 18 years old to, working age professionals, we asked them specifically, and I'll start with the kids, ages 15 to 25, what devices or apps on your phone, the top 3 do you spend your most time on? And to no surprise, it was TikTok, Snapchat, and Instagram. That's where that generation is spending their most time. When we interviewed the businesses and we interviewed the colleges, the top 3 apps that they recruit or spend the most time doing social media posts are Facebook, LinkedIn, and their own website. So there's a huge disconnect between where the businesses and colleges are trying to, market and meet people where they're at to, where the 15 to 25-year-old, students, college students, you name it, are trying to connect. And it shouldn't be surprising, but when we tell this to people, they're like, oh my gosh, that makes a ton of sense. So that was a huge driving force behind why we developed the platform the way we did, so that we could engage at the level, that the younger generation is. But, so are the, 30 and 40 and 50-year-olds. They're also starting to get into this social media age. And we're hopeful that we can now be that gap, bridge that gap between the business and the job seeker and student.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I think is also really unique is you guys are taking the time to meet with education providers and make sure that students can access the platform when they are in school. And I think that is very different. I don't think that a lot of different platforms have the ability to do that.
Yeah, that's another great point. Right now in classrooms, students do not have access to YouTube. They don't have access to Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram. It's not allowed in classrooms. So we've developed a web-based platform that isn't an app. The school system specifically said we don't want another app. And we don't want to have kids to go in and download anything. We want it accessible everywhere, PCs, laptops, Chromebooks, phones. So we're very, very excited going back to February after 20 months of fighting a approval process, but we are now fully approved in Lincoln Public School Systems as a tool that teachers can use in classrooms with students. So you think of a substitute coming in, instead of having kids watch a video that they fall asleep to and they don't pay attention at all, they can say, hey, let's get out your Chromebooks right now. Let's go to careerpathway.com. I want you to start searching about careers that you're interested in, watch videos, engage in real life opportunities. That is the tool that is now at their disposal. And then also across the state of Nebraska. So teachers in York and, North Platte, Chadron, McCook, Grand Island, Kearney, everyone across the state can have access to careerpathway.com. And now as a teacher, you have meaningful content that you can educate your students around. And then hopefully through that, we now have an opportunity to put these kids in situations to be successful and go into things that they like.
Yeah, absolutely. So back to that business lens, if I wanted to become involved, but I'm like, oh, I don't want to spend more money on a platform that I don't know is going to work for what I'm looking for, what would you have to say to them? Will money be a barrier?
Yeah. I mean, when you're working in sales, you kind of hear everything. Everyone's got their different focuses, and a lot of it is allocated around budget. And how we're structured is we want everyone to have an opportunity to come on and create that free profile. So if you are a business or you are a college or you're a group or in association, you can come on careerpathway.com and create a free profile. And you can add as much content, so videos, pictures, an about me section that you want. But then you lose that opportunity to then recruit pipeline and fill positions. We're only asking $99 a month. And when I talk to businesses and I talk to HR professionals, when you go to a job fair, think of the time, effort, and money that you spend, and also labor, sacrifice people to go out there for a full day. You purchase swag. I mean, you're looking about $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 each event when you add it all together. We're $1,100 a year, and it is a 24/7 living, breathing job fair with new students, new working age professionals coming on, engaging in what the businesses are doing, with very minimal effort. I mean, these videos that we're uploading for profiles, it takes probably 30 to 60 minutes a week for someone to manage the account. And then once someone applies directly to their opportunities tab, then it notifies them of, hey, so-and-so wants to connect with you about a job opening. It's very simple. The investment is very minimal, but the opportunity and the bigger picture is huge. So I try to break it down in those senses because I know when I talk to people, they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I got to get to manage another app, just another thing that I got to be responsible for. And, we're hopeful that we've taken the workload off and then also maybe condensed a lot of what they're using into a career pathway. So that's always kind of my explanation, my rebuttal. And then there's another cool feature that's a leaders tab where we can give companies the opportunity to, quote unquote, flex their muscle. If they want to do more branding and if they want to be front and center of that discover page, they can pay another $100 a month, with up to 10 keywords. So that when someone searches general contracting or electrician or plumber, Truebill Construction is going to pop up. So there's different ways that we're trying to give people opportunities to get exposure, but this is for what the cost is and what the long-term effects are, it's an absolute no-brainer in my opinion.
Absolutely. And it's incredibly beneficial when you think from the standpoint that this will be in front of students. Schools are on board. I mean, people are going to see your business. So let's look into the future. How do you see this tool evolving over time?
Well, the focus right now is we want to build out the foundation. We want to build out a process that works here in the state of Nebraska. We want to prove out the model, that, what we're doing is making real world connections with students and job seekers to businesses, opportunities, careers, and colleges. But the ultimate goal is we want to take this, nationally. We want to take this worldwide. We don't see why we need to stop. We have a tool that benefits everybody. And there's not really anything out there like it, what we do. So it's really cool that we get to start here in Nebraska and build out the model and make sure that there is success behind it. But in the next 2-3 years, I could very easily see this creeping into our neighbor states, Iowa, Kansas, South Dakota, Colorado, Minnesota, Michigan. I could see this spreading. And what's really cool about this right now is we already have users in 33 states. And that is with very little to no marketing outside of social media. So we have profiles created of different users in 33 states right now, which is awesome. And we've also doubled the amount of profiles that have been created on platform over the last 60 days. So we're now in the thousands of profiles on careerpathway.com. So if that's the indication of what we're doing in 6 short months, I'm really excited to see what next year brings and then the year after that.
Absolutely. That's incredible. So let's move on to a fun segment we call Fun and Fast. If you need to take time, that's okay. I definitely would as well. So do you have an example of an employer on the platform that is just really cool to see grow?
Gosh, we have quite a few right now. I'm definitely... So the top 3 profiles right now actually on platform are colleges and universities, just in terms of the content that they're putting on there, the creativity that goes behind it. at least just the amount of follows, likes, shares, all of that stuff. And it just comes down to, when someone's going to college, they're nervous, they're scared, they're going to go off oftentimes for the first time by themselves without a mom or dad alongside them. So you're seeing videos about a day in the life of what freshman year looks like, how to get involved in intramurals, Greek life, a day in the life in the cafeteria, what to expect, talking to faculty about recommendations that they always give to freshman students that come in or transfers. So I wouldn't say there's one specific employer that stands out. I just think it's the content and the creativity that I'm seeing. And a lot of it's driven through employees, CEOs, just real life experiences that everyone can relate to and connect with, and really just be like, that's really raw. That's really real. So, the universities have done a great job with that, all the way down to there's a, In the ZA podcast where it's 3 guys each week or once a month, that eat pizza, and they just talk about different topics for 15 minutes.
That's awesome.
And that's one of the most popular, points of content on the platform. So, we'll have more success stories that come about, but, there was one actually today where I made a real life connection, with a IT professional that created a profile two days ago looking for an IT role. And I connected them with one of our partners, Sandhills Global. I just did a simple email introduction with the chief administration officer and then the professional. And they're interested in kind of setting up next steps for an interview. So if we can do simple things like that, that goes a long ways. And that's going to build out, the trust in what we're doing and the people that are coming on. So that was kind of a fun thing that I was able to be a part of. And if he ends up getting hired, great. If not, at least there's some introduction that were done.
Yeah, absolutely. And you say simple, but that's not easy. That's not very common. So that's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what would you say one misconception people have about the modern workforce would be?
I think people think the younger generation is just lazy, which, there's a lot of truth behind that, right? I think just with social media and post-COVID, there's a lot of work from home. So we've lost that kind of in-office, camaraderie dynamic. And then a lot of people are able to make money off of being kind of influencers. But honestly, it is the entire workforce. It doesn't matter what age you are. There's just some people that just don't want to work. It is crazy to me. That's not how I operate and how I work. But I think a lot of people just think the new generation coming up is lazy, but it really is across the board. And I lived and breathed recruiting for 10 years, prior to, kind of going into my most recent role. And it was hard to get people to show up for jobs. They would commit and then the next day they wouldn't show up. So, that's kind of the one misconception I see in the workforce is people just think the younger generation is lazy, and that's just not the case. It's just all of us. We need to pull together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So before I let you go, I'm going to have you do one last plug for careerpathway.com. How can people get in touch if they want to get started?
Yep. It's very simple. If you're a business, if you're a college, if you're a professional, if you're a student or an educator, go to careerpathway.com, create a free profile. Start on the Discover page, start kind of playing around with how it operates. It's very simple. There's 5 functions to it. We wanted to make it very simplified, easy to use. If you want to set up more of a strategic session, I'm the sales director with Career Pathway, so I'm more than happy to do a one-on-one session with you. And my email is simple. It's just Sam, S-A-M, @careerpathway.com, and I'd be more than happy to have a discussion with you. Or if you want to join our Tuesday weekly Zoom call that we do every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central, again, go to careerpathway.com, sign up on the banner that has Zoom link, and you can sign up to have a live demo. You can meet our CEO, Bo Jones, and myself, and we can give a presentation of the platform. So there's multiple ways to get involved. We're really excited and passionate about what we're doing. And the biggest thing behind it is the relationships. We want to get to know people and we want to have human interaction. So looking forward to connecting with everybody and hopefully we can just continue what we're doing and just make an impact.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I just want to remind anyone listening, once again, explore the platform, connect with regional opportunities, see what's out there. It can't hurt. Take the time. And as always, if you guys have trouble finding the person to contact, finding the place to go, you can reach out to the YCDC, and we are more than happy to share that information with you. Thank you once again, Sam, so much for joining me. I know I learned a lot. I always do from you guys. And I can't wait to see the platform grow.
Yeah, Emily, thank you for your partnership. I appreciate all that you do for us and the support you've given us. So I had a lot of fun today. I enjoyed doing this, and hopefully I can come back again soon.
That's a wrap on another episode of the 17 County Podcast. As always, thank you for joining us to explore the business leaders, community champions, and transformational efforts shaping our regional economy. A final word of appreciation to our stakeholders: Central Valley Ag, Clutie Inc., Overland Ready Mixed, Collins Aerospace, Meade Lumber Company, Perennial Public Power District, Henderson State Bank, Midwest Bank, York State Bank, K-Junction OPPD, and Nebraska Public Power District. Your investment doesn't just support this podcast, it strengthens York County's momentum in innovation, growth, and long-term resilience. Until next time, stay engaged, stay informed, and continue supporting the businesses and partners that make our communities thrive.